Hey guys, welcome to Work in Esports podcast. My name is Sam, aka Just Casual. I'm your host today, and we got special guest Anthony Joshua Porras, also known as
Yes.
AP. How's it going, man?
Good. Been going good. It's a casual day, especially during Corona now.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly being inside now, so it
Yeah,
kind of sucks, but it's whatever.
you dealing with it okay?
Yeah, for the most part, for the most part, I am. I guess. I mean, I haven't caught it. I haven't. I've gotten my tests and everything. I actually just got a test last week, so that one for some reason got me a little scared.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, like I wasn't really out as much, so I don't know why I was really scared. I was just like, what happens if I got it inside from like an old book?
Yeah, like an Amazon package or something. Right? No, it's like
Yeah,
super paranoia is like crazy. I think like
yeah,
it's not gonna happen. It'll be fine. Then you hear that one horror story. You're up late scrolling Twitter and you're like, oh, some kid that's 16 died. I'm like, okay, that's
yeah.
that feels good.
From, from a Amazon package, it's just like, oh, that's just weird. And like you're holding an Amazon, yeah, it's just
Yeah.
not it.
Hopefully everyone out there is doing all right. But yeah, let's just jump into it. If you guys don't know, this is the first episode I'm recording. So first of all, thank you for being my first guest. It should be very, very
Thank you.
special. First time's always special.
100%.
Just to give you a little bit of introduction and fill in the gaps that I'm missing. But I'm jumping around a little bit. The podcast, we're pretty much focusing, having conversations, talking about like the inside scoop of like what's it like to work in esports. So hopefully people that are listening to this are one, either interested in esports because they want to get into it, or just curious about what it looks like, or even people that are in esports, just like kind of giving direction, just getting to know people, people that they don't get to see, especially during this like COVID time and everything. But with your intro, what I've scrapped up is that you're a videographer, photographer, and editor, the trifecta. And pretty much your starting esports was with Lazarus Esports, moving over to Misfits Gaming, which is all the way across the pond over in Europe. And then recently coming back to LA doing freelance work, right?
Yes, freelance work.
Cool. So am I missing anything? And if not, why don't you just jump in and say like some things that we might have seen if we've been following the scene?
For the most part, you got it. You got it on the point. I was from
Nice.
Lazarus, and I kind of took like a 2 month break in between after I got let go, and then went to Misfits, and yeah, that's pretty much on the ball. Now I'm just back in California, just chilling, getting ready for my next work.
Cool, cool. Do you have something in mind or are you just like figuring things out still?
I'm actually already like in the process. I'm actually going to be moving soon to my
Oh,
next work. Yeah.
okay.
So that one's under the wraps right now. So I'm just waiting.
The first scoops right here on this
Yeah.
podcast. Oh, congratulations then. That's really cool. That's
Thank you.
exciting. I
Thank you.
can't
Thank you.
wait to hear what secret you will reveal. I'll be stalking your Twitter as always.
Awesome. Awesome.
Cool. All right. So you've hinted at this with me before. Let's jump into like how you got into esports because I think you have at least the start of your story sounds very unconventional, but to be honest, it's something I've kind of heard of a few times like anyway. So why don't you go into that?
So yeah, with I guess esports in general, the best way to really start it is I didn't really have any interest in esports. I wasn't really a big, gamer. I wasn't really like looking out to like, oh, I want to join Cloud9, I want to join Phase or anything like that. I was more of just focused on doing small businesses, working with like the city of Chino at the time, and just small work with friends, whatever. And pretty much my one of my friend my close friends Treo, he asked me if I could drive him down to LA to a CS:GO event, and personally for me I didn't want to do that. I remember exactly what was happening too, because I was watching a PewDiePie video, and it was The Last of Us, and I just wanted to watch the episode. I didn't want to do anything else that day.
Yeah, we all have those
So
days for sure.
yeah, I just like that day was my lazy day, and pretty much he convinced me to take him, so I went ahead and drove him down. I went to the event, I shot some stuff. I was hoping he could get a job or like maybe network and everything like that. And at the end of the night, actually, one of our other friends his name's Josh. He actually got a call from the CEO from Lazarus, Charlie Watson, and Josh couldn't actually take that job opportunity. So the best person he thought of was me, and that was the same night I met Josh. So it was like,
crazy.
okay, like this is crazy, yeah. So I got on the phone with Charlie Watson that same night. I talked to him. He gave me the offer, and like there was no like no like I have to wait 2 days or something like that. It was like, look, if you want this job, it's gonna be now, or you're missing this opportunity.
Wow.
And I went ahead and I said, like, is it cool if you give me like 30 minutes so I can figure this out? And the first person I go ahead and I call my mom and I tell her this whole thing because I'm still working with the city of Chino, and I just barely got this job. It's a government job, so it could go far, like in far places for my future and everything like that, as a stable job. I called my mom. She said it was a bad idea. I called my friend Spencer. He said it's a great idea. I called my dad, and he says, like, there's ups and downs of both sides. And I'm like, okay, you didn't help. You were the tiebreaker, so
yeah. You didn't do anything.
So yeah. So at the end of the 30 minutes, I pulled the gun. I said, you know what? I'll be there. I'll move out to Redondo Beach and be in the gaming house over there and go with it. Next day, I went to the city of Chino City Hall and I quit my job.
and how were they happy?
Not really, because the day before they actually bought my teacher's permit, which was like $150. So it really didn't work out for the best. So I was like, this is an opportunity I can't miss. Yeah. So I went ahead and quit my job, and the next day I started packing, and at the end of the week I moved out to Redondo, and that's kind of where my whole esports journey really began, because I knew exactly nothing.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so oh man, there's so much here. So first of all, so you've rubbed shoulders with people that are in esports. You've probably heard some stories. Is it that easy to get into esports?
I mean, I feel like with like the personality that I have, and something I focused on with especially my YouTube channel, is I always want to focus on making new friends, always want to network, always be open to a chat with anyone, because in reality you don't know what that other person who's standing in front of you, like what his business is, what he does, what he owns, what networks does he have. So like I always say to literally everyone who asks me for like advice or tips or anything like that, is network is king. There's hands down, network is king. You can have the skills, you can have the talent, but if you don't know how to talk to someone, you ain't getting the job. That's just flat out it. It sucks, but it's just how it goes. I don't know. as long as you network, I think you'll find getting into esports acceptable. So yeah. I think that's the best way.
So, how much? So what did you get hired for? Like, what was a gig for you to do with Lazarus then?
So this is where I guess the risk really comes in. Obviously, with working at the city of Chino, it's a full-time job. It's not like by contract or anything like that. With the Lazarus job, they only contracted me for a temp videographer for 3 months. So I was like, if I'm going to go into esports, I'm going to commit to esports. Deal. So I went ahead and I committed to the 3 months. And pretty much at the end of my 3 months, I made sure that I was setting up projects and stuff after those 3 months. So I knew they would still need me after those 3 months, so I can get contracted again.
All right. big brain play. No, that's really smart. So then how much work did you have before? And like, did you have to show a reel or anything, or did you just talk your way into it?
I showed a couple of projects from like small businesses that I did working with like a basketball coach, and I worked a little bit with actually the Ball brothers. So like Lonzo, I don't know if you know basketball or anything like that, but like Lonzo, Mello, and Jello.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah, working with them. Yeah, they went to my high school, so I was like, okay, cool. So it worked out for both worlds. So I did some video with them, and that's kind of what I sent Charlie Watson the day after, and he was like, you know what, cool with me, start moving.
Wow.
And from there, it just worked out, and the workload at Lazarus was immense.
Yeah, imagine that in esports, a lot of work and it moves fast and
Yeah.
no sleep. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so I think this is really cool because again, I want to one have just interesting conversations with both of us, right? But two, like I
100%.
think about people that are listening to this, and whenever people talk about networking, and then like networking can be hard for people, especially like people that might be introverted or just people that just haven't had experience with networking. And then they try it, they cold DM someone and be like, hi. And then they wait for their reply. And they're like, can I ask you a question? And then like wait for a reply. And then they're like, oh, like I love gaming and esports. Like, do you have a job? Like I will work really and then you find out they don't have any experience. And then like, and then you just get shut down. You're like, oh, networking's so hard. It's so sad and desperate. But it's not like what I'm getting from this is that you already had years of experience, and it wasn't even in esports. You just did your craft, and then when that like quote unquote lucky opportunity came, like
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, I'm ready for this. Here we go. Let's do it. And then like they're like, yeah, this guy can do the work, so let's pick him up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, I see that so much where yeah, people just get so discouraged trying to network, and I'm like, hey, dude, you need to you need to like do your dues, pay your dues, or like find that experience that you don't have, or do that kind of stuff. So if people are interested in videography or like photography, which I see are like very similar, how did you gain those experiences? Like did you just go to a school for it? What was that like?
So I guess this is best said of just saying how I really started with videography in general, because that videography is what launched every single other skill that I have today, you know, in exponential form. Before high school at all, I was actually very introverted. I did not want to talk to anyone. I hated talking to anyone, and I did not want to make any friends. I just wanted to get through school, go home, and just watch YouTube. That was it.
And
Just
watch
watch my
PewDiePie.
exactly. And I actually started to grow jealousy towards, like, the small group of friends that I did have. And I would see them like just be able to take photos, be able to see them have funny videos of each other. And I always thought like that's why like their friendships are lasting, because they're able to capture that moment and use that and go along with it. So I was very introverted, and I hated being in front of the camera
Hmm.
at all. Like I did not want any photos of me. I didn't want anything near close to me with the camera whatsoever. Going into high school, I flipped that. I forced myself. I asked my mom, I want to get a camera. I want to start doing like vlogs on YouTube or something like that. I don't know what it is, but I want to face this fear of mine to just get over with.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what I did. I went ahead and my mom bought me my first ever camera. It's somewhere in my room. I don't know where. But she bought me my first camera, and from there, like, me just making friends, making networks, talking to even like my teachers, and like they hired me for work as well.
Wow.
Like that's what really launched my personality to be able to even just do like a podcast and like do workshops that I used to do, and talk to a bunch of kids and travel to different high schools and talk to them like, look, like this is what I'm doing, this is how I changed, and yeah.
So, you talk about getting over your like camera shyness. Was it
Yeah.
was it just as simple as just getting in front of the camera and putting in those reps in front of the camera, or was there more to it?
uh I mean, I forced myself. I remember going into high school, my first plan was I wanted to record throughout every single year from freshman to senior year, and
Whoa.
then make a recap video at the end of the year of all 4 years all together. And
Uh-huh.
then I know that freshman year I'll be learning one major lesson. Sophomore year I'll be learning one major lessons, and so forth. So I went ahead, and every week I just forced myself to like just record just a tiny bit, just something. Hey guys, my name's AJ, how you guys all doing? Haha, this is my friend Anthony, yada yada yada, whatever. And then just I remember every single day, every single week, I just got more and more comfortable with it, and now to the point I'm able to say, "What's up, guys? My name is Anthony Joshua Porras. You can call me AP for short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you guys next time."
Yeah. Follow all that stuff. Give it to the algorithm. Give what the algorithm wants. I'm just gonna have you do that for me every video. Okay, thanks.
Like I wouldn't have been able to say that or anything like that if I didn't force myself. And like that's just a small thing, but it's the fact that I was able to get in front of the camera. I was able to grab my friends, pull them into my YouTube channel, and now like my friends are like, remember when we ordered 150 atomic wings from Wingstop and we did whatever? Or remember when we snuck into the school pool and we jumped in and then we got in trouble and you just posted it on YouTube? Like those are actual things that happen.
That's awesome.
And like those are friends that I have memories with, and like I could just move on with and just have something to relate to.
Yeah. Okay. So, man, like, there's so much to talk about. I don't want to like. I think we have about an hour or so, like, total time. But like, what when you said that you just like wanted to capture your whole year and like have that like this is what I learned over that year. Like, where does that desire or drive come from? Why did you want to be like, this sounds interesting, I want to do it? Because it kind of sounds crazy, and I think there's a lot of people that are like, I would have no desire to do that. That seems like a lot of work, or that seems like really weird. Is that what makes you a videographer?
Honestly, the idea in general, I don't know where that really came from. I knew from like sophomore year doing more research into like wanting to record every single year and make an entire recap, like looking at like just googling it or like searching it on YouTube. Like no one's done that where they recorded every single year from freshman year to senior year, the very last day.
Yeah.
And no, like I just I might as well be the first person.
Oh, that's so
that was kind of like, it's mainly that, and just more of like I know every day you either learn some tiny lesson or you learn just like something that will help you along the way. And to have a recap of like your freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year, like obviously there are big lessons in high school in general that make who you are. There's people who are going to college and they don't know what to do. Luckily for me, like I'm so grateful for it that I found videography, and that's what I've been doing throughout all of high school. I found something that I love doing. Like it was forcing myself to face my fears, and now like the only fear I got is heights.
Nice. My biggest fear is probably like being out in public, really having to take a dump and having no public restroom near me. That's probably my biggest fear right now.
Yeah, I could see that
one. Okay, so yeah, this is like really interesting to me because like I think what it just comes down to for you, and I feel like it's weird because you're a videographer, you're a photographer, and I'm like, wait, I kind of feel this, like I felt that way too. But it just comes down to like, you just want to like make something cool.
Right? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was more of like, actually, it was more of helping myself, and then it slowly transformed into I wanted to make something cool for my friends.
Oh, okay.
And that's kind of like my overall goal is just making something cool for my friends. That's it.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's getting me thinking. I don't think I've ever heard that before. I'm like, whoa, I have no idea what. Whoa, I'm like speechless. That's really cool though. That's super cool. All right, so yeah, we got to move on with some stuff. But one other, actually, okay, before we move on, like just for people that might be interested in videography or any stage of their videography, I think this is a question that I'm going to selfishly ask, and I think would be helpful for other people. So, me and my wife try to get out because it's Corona and like we just need to get fresh air every now and then. So one thing that we've been trying to do is go like disc golfing. You know what that is?
Just golf.
Disc golfing. It's like it's a frisbee, but it's like, okay, so you don't know what disc. So it's a different type of frisbee. You throw it, and there's these like baskets out in a field. So then you'd be like, it's just like golf, except you throw a frisbee instead of hit a golf ball.
I've always wondered what those things.
It's like the chains, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's so
I
funny.
know what that is now.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what happened. I'm like, oh, this is disc golf. Like, I've never known what those are for. But okay, that's really funny. Yeah, so there's a place not too far from us. It's a little bit of a drive, but it's like, it's fresh air. We get out, and like every day is not the same anymore. And I'm like, oh, I want to go out and like maybe capture that, do a vlog.
Yeah,
So let's say I have zero experience. Like, how do I do it?
hit
Without,
record.
don't give me like an hour explanation, but like, how do I do it?
Hit record.
Hit record.
That's it.
That's it.
I think the main problem with a lot of people who want to become a videographer, and this goes as a photographer as well, is they find the hardest part is just hitting record.
Mm,
That's it. If you have no footage, you can't be a videographer. That's just it. You
wow.
got to hit record.
Deep. Deep. I love it. I love it. That's cool. Awesome. Awesome. Another question. What what makes a difference between like a person that's just doing it and a person that's like really good, or a person that's like getting paid really well to do photography or videography?
The ability to learn and their aspirations. I feel like when money becomes into the mix of whatever you love doing, especially like, so if you want to become a videographer, if your goal is to make a lot of money, you're only going to get so far. That's it. I think once you hit that money cap in such a creative job as well, that's that's how much you're going to know.
Hmm.
And I felt that as well. With being in Lazarus, like, I got a good job. I got good pay, and I was okay. But that's where I started to settle. Like, that's this is the tip of my talent. And
Hmm.
midway through Lazarus, I was like, this shouldn't at all how be my mindset whatsoever. So I think the difference between a starter videographer to someone who's making good pay, who actually has good work or anything like that, don't even mind them. Just do your own thing. Focus on your own work. You'll grow yourself in your own direction in any sort of way.
Cool. I love that. Very inspirational. All right. So I definitely want to hear about your time at Misfits, right? One, you are California based and you just went out to Berlin. No big deal. And I think I saw your tweet. You're just like, hey, I got a job at Misfits. I was like, all right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Bye.
It was. I remember it too. It was just, by the way, comma, join Misfits as videographer. That was the tweet.
Yeah. So like, tell me, how was that, maybe like, how was like the first like week or 2 weeks working at Misfits?
Ah, I mean, there was just so much to learn. One, like, it's a different experience, because working the difference from working with Misfits and working with Lazarus is, one, I have a team now. I'm working with two other editors, amazing editors,
Mm,
by the way. Siebert Yelko, amazing guy. He was actually my roommate. Louis, senior editor, absolutely just fantastic. I loved working with him. That's like probably the biggest thing that I kind of miss, besides just being in Berlin. But yeah, like, the difference between that is just working with a team, and that's what I got to experience working at Misfits for like the first 2 weeks, and just like having an office. I lived in an apartment, obviously down in Berlin, like 20 minutes away, and I wake up, I'm not just walking out my door and be like, oh, this is work, this is all it right here. I'm in a gaming house in Lazarus.
mm-hmm.
With Misfits, I'm going out on the bus, going to the office. Like, it's a totally different mind change.
Cool. Cool. So then,
Yeah.
what was it like being on a team? Like, where was it? What were the struggles of that? What was the things that you enjoyed about that?
I would have to say probably my biggest struggles is just getting to know everyone, because you just joined a new team. You don't know league content or anything, like, for especially for me, like, I didn't really have a big league background
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. Like, I knew the game, and I knew like some bits pieces here, but like, if you asked me like a champion or something, like, I couldn't name that, like.
Where I don't remember, but were they just in league when you joined, and do they have more teams now?
So for Misfits in Berlin, they're actually Fortnite and League, but for me, I was mainly focused with the League team.
Gotcha. So were you just doing you're just doing all the videography work for any of the league content for
Yeah,
Misfits?
yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah,
Cool,
I
cool.
was mainly focused with them.
All right, cool. And then what about what was something you enjoyed about working in the team there?
Just meeting just different personalities. It's so different from American mentality to European mentality on how they want to go for what their goals are.
Mm.
That's like the biggest difference between like that I absolutely enjoyed.
What's the difference? I know you have a video on
Ah,
this, right?
yeah, I do.
So go check that out. But the TLDR.
Yeah, so the biggest difference is I feel like with Americans is, and this goes for I think anyone in any workforce or anything like that, or just have a dream or aspiration is Americans want to go from point A to point B as quick as possible. You
Mhm.
know, they want to put their full focus towards that thing. With Europeans, it's like, yeah, we want to go from A to B, but like it's okay to relax. It's okay to rest. Like this day, like it's okay to close everything on a Sunday, which I absolutely hated and I didn't know because I had to go grocery shopping. You know, I grocery shopping on Sundays, so it sucks. But but yeah, like they knew they could relax and still get what they wanted. They're okay with you know Sundays is my day.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I've heard bits and pieces of that. Before I worked in esports, I was in engineering, and
Okay.
we had some clients in Barcelona, Spain, and that was my first time going to Europe. It was a work trip, and like they just took like breaks all the time, and they're eating all the time. I'm like, what is this? This
Yeah.
is crazy. And I'm like, we gotta get done by 5, and these guys are like not even starting. Like, what the heck is going on? And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is how it is. And it was
Yeah.
it was cool. It was really chill, and people are like really friendly. And yeah, I totally like from my very short time there, I could already like just feel the difference and just that hustle and grind. It looks so different.
Oh, 100%. Like, just especially, like, obviously, me coming from California, like, I have that American mentality. I
Mhm.
want to be successful. I think everyone wants to be successful. And then I get plopped in Berlin. And it's just like, everyone's slow. like, I wanna keep going, But it is for sure a big, big, big change in my own personality and how I want to grow and like the lessons that I took from it.
Okay, like as you're talking about all this stuff, I'm like, yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. And then I forgot, we're talking about esports. So now I'm just like, wait, you're lying. I don't believe you. So like now I have to understand like because I've only worked for Golden Guardians full time. That's it. Like I'm
Okay.
pretty new into esports. It's been a little over a year full time. Um, so it's all I know, and I hear stories from people, maybe a little more insight than when I was outside of the scene. But so like now I gotta hear like how does Misfits operate? Like are they, and we don't have to go in like super detail, and maybe you have more insight on other European teams too. But like my my understanding of esports is that everyone's always understaffed, everyone's really passionate, and we're always taking on more projects than we probably can take, and then therefore everyone is really tired and busy. Like I said to you, I don't think I said it on the podcast. This was before that. Like our video editors were up until 6 this morning to release our docuseries that released 10 a.m. this morning, and I also lost sleep, and I wasn't even editing, and I was like doing YouTube, like the SEO, and like getting thumbnails together and everything. So like, is that different in EU, or does it just look different but kind of the same?
I would have to say I think it's the same, but the mentality that goes like I think every org or for most orgs, everyone's kind of understaffed. Everyone's taking in more projects or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that. So like especially for Misfits, like I would have to say I took on a lot of projects that maybe I shouldn't have. I was only contracted as a videographer mainly,
Mm-hmm.
and I did some editing work, which I was totally fine with. I'm fine with doing editing work because I want to expand myself into doing editing. There were some people who were in the office who did have that mentality, like I'm only working from 9 to 5. Once it's 5, I'm going home.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so like obviously there's a mentality, but I think with people having that, like, I personally found myself working around that and working with them still, and
Mhm.
like it's just how you adapt to it pretty much. With, compared to Lazarus, I was the only videographer. I was the only person until like my last 3 months until we hired another editor, and from that, like, I would have to say, like, we were working some nights to like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. on getting like multiple videos out. And like, I think Lazarus content at its peak, we were posting at least like 3 to 4 videos per week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So yeah, and it was just two of us, and that's what we got, from our higher ups to tell us, like, now that there's another editor, like, let's start pushing out more content faster and faster type of deal. Like, okay, like, we're not gonna talk back or anything, so
Yeah, sure, sure. Okay, that's
so
cool. Huh. That's interesting.
very, very big difference in my opinion how I see it. But overall, I think just the mentality as a civilian in general in any type of workspace, anything, you're going on your casual day, like, it's very different between American to European.
Yeah. Interesting. Hmm. Maybe I gotta get out there in EU and try it out. Because yeah, I don't know how familiar you are with things now, but like for example, the LEC broadcast versus the LCS broadcast. There's a lot of yeah, especially in the last like 2 years or so, they've definitely separated, and people have. Whoa, can you hear that?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. There's just like a loud plane that just flew over, or a helicopter or something. You
Oh.
know, just LA things. um,
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, the
The
broadcast
difference, yeah.
difference, you know, and uh, LEC, I think objectively just like blows LCS out of the water with that kind of stuff. But yeah, even with that difference, and what I would think is like, oh, maybe Europe doesn't work as hard, but obviously still they're still making something really really big and really impressive that impresses everyone, and LCS is even like, at least LCS fans are like super super jealous of. So
Yeah.
yeah, I
I
gotta get
think the
out to
difference, yeah,
EU.
the difference a lot with that, because that's one thing I really notice. The difference between like LCS and LEC is for sure like the broadcasting, and you can see on what side what matters the most to them.
Yeah.
With LCS, personally for me, when I'm looking at it, I personally feel like they have more of like just a, a blank template. Here's the game. Here's the score. Sponsor, 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 sponsor. But with LEC, it's a lot like, they have like just the personality. That's
Yeah.
it. Besides, the whole what's the last deal they had, which went downhill very fast.
Oh, I don't remember the name, but
Yeah.
the
It was
Middle
like
Eastern one,
Nia something. Yeah, I don't know
something
what
like
it
that.
is. Yeah, that one. Besides that,
Yeah.
but yeah, the personality with LEC to, obviously being marketable for the LCS is very different.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So let's see. Any fun stories at Misfits? I mean,
Any
I'm sure
fun
there's
stories?
plenty. Any fun stories that you are allowed to share or want to share?
Um, towards kind of the end of my trails with Misfits, actually, I decided to really start pranking my roommate, which is also Siebert, the other editor in Misfits. That's where I started just buying random stuff, and I stacked a bunch of red cups in front of his door. I
Nice.
taped his door. Um, I'm pretty sure he still hasn't found. I don't know if he's watching this or not, but I don't know if he's found the multiple stickers that I put under his couch of just of donuts.
Nice. Nice.
Just I just started doing random stuff to
Oh,
him,
that's
and
cool.
just for fun. And he would do stuff back to me, so it was like,
Nice.
but
Nice.
for like the most part, I think that's probably the best that I could share.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you.
Yeah. So
Awesome. All right. So let's talk a little bit um, about coming back to the US. What prompted that? Why are you back? And what are you doing and why are you doing it?
So coming back to the US, I guess with leaving Misfits, there was a lot of things that that changed its own pace with the direction of the content they wanted to go. And no hate towards them. It's not like I hate Misfits now or something like that. I
Mhm.
actually really still like it. I love the branding they have and the persona they're giving. But obviously being on the inside of as being a videographer and working for them is you have your own goals, you have your own personality and everything like that. And for me, if I'm losing something that I love working on, I don't want to be a part of it because it just doesn't feel true to myself.
Mhm.
And I was like doing the document series and everything like that. And that's what I love doing, telling a story. I like telling other people's story. As I said, like I want to make something cool for my friends. I want to tell their story. I want to tell a story with them or anything like that. And that's kind of the big thing that kind of got taken away from me. And it was from that, and then you know they wanted to change the directions of content in general, doing sponsor work and stuff, and I just wasn't feeling it for myself. And
Mhm.
that's where, surprisingly, somehow, I don't know how, I get my new offer for my new job. And I started talking with them and, you know, chit chat back and forth type of deal. Before anything actually got agreed on, I went ahead and pulled the trigger and I left back to home. I talked to all my manager. I said, I'm quitting. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. You know, short story, whatever. And I came back to California, and literally the 5 minutes I landed, they were like, for my new job, they told me, we like you, we want to hire you. When can we chat?
Oh, that's awesome.
So I'm like, this is perfect.
Wait, so was that news better than the first Chick-fil-A you had back in the States? Because I know you love your
Oh,
Chick-fil-A.
oh no! Nothing's gonna compare to Chick Fil A. Nothing's gonna ever compare to my spicy deluxe. No pickles. All right, I'm sorry, but no pickles.
All right, cool.
100%.
So that's cool. So
hundred
you
percent.
actually so I guess in this the time between Misfits and this new job, this elusive new job, um you kind of had something in the works and you're just filling time in between.
Yeah, yeah. In between all of that, and especially with still working with Misfits, I kind of learned more into content editing and doing more working with streamers and working directly with the creators. And that's where I I found something I really loved. It's making that relationship with those creators, like
Mm-hmm.
with working with an org as a videographer and editing for a team and everything like that. I think it gives you great capabilities of having the opportunities to travel, having the opportunities to meet big people or anything like that. But I don't think you can actually build a good relationship with those people because obviously you are a part of a bigger name. If you're
Mm-hmm.
working freelance, it's just you. You're working for yourself. You're working to make that network. You're working to make that relationship, and that's where I started with content editing. And I asked one of my closer friends that I met in Lazarus. His name is Elsis. He XC9 Pro. He CS:GO or I just totally mixed that up. He's a CS:GO pro from C9. Joined Lazarus, yada yada yada. And I knew he wanted to make content, and I went ahead and I asked him like, "Yo, I'm willing to do your videos completely for free.
Dang.
Just give me the channel, give me the content, and I will do it for you." And that's where I started with content editing. I started editing for him. I announced that I was editing for him, and then I shortly joined a small little group called XVA, and that's where I got my next job working with a Destiny streamer. Now I'm salary based with him, working with him, and then I got my next job with Ahadify, and he's a Valorant player, Valorant pro, and from there, like that's kind of what I'm doing on the side.
So okay, yeah, I want to get into this because one of my newest job, I guess one of my newest job projects has been figuring out how to grow our YouTube channels for our expansion players. So we announced in, oh my gosh, time is so non-linear for me. It's just a gray cloud. I have no idea. But
Time does not exist in esports.
yeah,
I'll say that.
it must have been like April, May. No, maybe. Yeah, around that time. We
Okay.
signed like oh gosh, now I have to remember them all off the top of my head. But we signed like a WoW PvP team. We signed some auto battlers like in TFT and Hearthstone, those kind of things. We signed uh, a BR team that played like Apex and was like prattling in Valorant for a little bit. Then we even signed later like Zane, who's Super Smash Bros. Melee, and then
Yep.
more WoW teams and stuff. And so we had our one of our bigger names that we signed up was Peekaboo, who's a WoW PvP player, plays Rogue.
Yep.
He's a huge streamer, but he didn't have a YouTube channel, so that was like one of my first projects. And
Yeah.
I think I got kind of lucky. Like I keep like trying not to be like, oh, I didn't do anything because I obviously did something. Maybe I'm like being like way too humble, but it seriously was like it was a perfect storm because this guy was huge on Twitch. And then I'm just like, we just need to get videos on YouTube. Like it's going to
Yeah.
work. And the first one just like popped off, right? And the other ones that we've worked with haven't had that kind of a bang. But like Peekaboo is just the perfect YouTube personality who also like streams really well and is a very good WoW player and like has a lot of history in WoW anyway. So um that is something that I've definitely been struggling with. And I'm curious, like, how involved are you in maybe the content brainstorming, the channel management, thumbnails, titles, all those kind of things?
From an esports presence, working in Misfits, I wasn't that much involved with actually uploading the actual like video that we
Mm-hmm.
produced and everything like that. So from that side, I don't really know. But
Sure.
working with content editing, working with the streamers that I have, the partners that I have now, I'm uploading for them and everything like that. And every game's different. Everything's different. Obviously, there's so many different trends. And with the Destiny streamer that I'm working with, EK, his content is popping off for sure. And he has such a big presence on Twitch with the Destiny community, and I absolutely love him. And for myself, I think I'm still learning. I think I have a good hand on it with Destiny,
Mm-hmm.
but when it goes for Valorant, that's the one I'm still obviously learning. Obviously, the trends are still growing by a ton,
Yeah.
and I'm still trying to understand like what is the top rank to tag, what is a good thumbnail, what is a good title, all that stuff. Like what should we be focusing on? Maybe skits, maybe more just cool plays, more whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it I think it takes a lot to learn just YouTube. That's not talking about other social media for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So your struggle, like understanding your struggle with all that, like is understandable.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything that like hmm I don't even know what question to ask. 'Cause like there's honestly like so much like I could talk about with YouTube. Um is there anything that you've seen like you figured out that seems like really work for maybe even just like one of your YouTube accounts?
um,
Like maybe that light bulb moment?
Probably the thumbnail for the Destiny streamer EK.
Uh-huh.
Um, he just has his own style, and he asked me to kind of mimic it and work with it and everything. I'm like, okay, like personally for me, I wasn't a big fan of what his thumbnail style was, and then I started doing it, and I started to I saw why it was working. It's just the colors he was doing and like the
Mhm.
the contrast of the colors, and just that's your information. This is what this video is about. That's it.
Yeah, yeah.
Click on it if you want to watch it. And it just started bringing in views for him, and it started working. And I was like, I'm not gonna change. I'm not gonna fix something if it ain't broken.
Mhm. No, yeah. I people it's always like the thumbnail that comes last. Like people don't think about the thumbnail and
Yep.
I think you find any YouTube guru they're always like, "Oh, you got to know the thumbnail and title before you even start record like press the record button, right?"
Yep.
Streamers are a little different, but at the same time, if the streamers are able to think about that before they go into a game, like I know this happens with like league streamers or like TFT streamers where like, "I'm going to do this crazy thing." and I'm gonna go into this game, and because I know this is gonna be a YouTube video, I'm gonna like be extra boisterous. I'm gonna like try to get
Yeah,
high kills. I'm gonna go for the greedy plays, all that kind of stuff.
yeah.
But for the YouTube doc series for Golden Guardians, I spent, oh my gosh, I was stressing out about it all over the weekend because I had like the really, really rough drafts of the 3 episodes that we put out. So I was like, okay, what is the story? What's the interesting thing? What's the clickbait? Like, what's the title gonna be? And then I spent probably at least 8 hours trying to come up with a thumbnail and titles. And I have a Google Doc of just titles that is like 3 pages long for 3 different episodes because I'm just like, people don't know how important it is because you're just like trying to get into that monkey brain that people have that are like browsing
Yep.
YouTube, and like you got to think about so many things, and especially because
Yeah.
I'm not it's not my content, right? For things on my YouTube channel, I think about it a lot, but like I don't care if I make a mistake because it's my stuff. But then when I'm like, oh my gosh, we
Yeah.
have like I don't know how many of tens of hours, maybe hundreds of hours like pushed into this series. I'm like, oh my God, I have to get this right. Like, and then like, is this gonna actually work? And then I don't think there's always even a right answer.
Yeah.
And
I
sometimes
that's It's exactly with my YouTube channel. I could not care on what the title is. It could be something. It could just be I, just the letter I,
uh-huh.
and I would not care. The thumbnail could be whatever. It's fine, whatever. But when it comes to working with my partners, the streamers, or working in with Lazarus, that's where I was actually uploading the videos and everything. Like I would spend so many hours just sitting there, and be like, "What is good?" And actually, especially with my new job that I'm doing, I'm actually learning so much more about YouTube
Oh, that's good.
because I would have to say the new job that I'm getting is not with esports.
Is not
Not.
okay.
Yeah. But
So
it's very heavy to deal with YouTube.
all right.
So
So why the transition out? Just the right opportunity, the right projects, or were you're like, I hate esports. Esports chewed me up, spit me out, and I never want to go back
no,
again.
no, 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 no. Personally for me, I honestly feel I went backwards for the majority of things. Obviously, from a lot of people that I've been talking to, and talking with like editors and videographers, photographers, and anything. Obviously, all these people want to join an org who are wanting to be in the esports scene, and for me, I told my story how I got into esports. That was just straight luck. And and I feel like I should have started with doing freelance, and then I make my transition with being in an org. And for me, I went from working in an org, working in another org, and now I'm transitioning to freelance. And that the main reason why is because I want to make that close connection with that creator. I
Mm,
want to make that relationship. I want to make sure like I'm not calling them my client, I'm calling them my partner. You need me as much as I need you. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
if you're making content, we have to have a flow of work. It's not like just throw the footage in a file like, hey, it's uploaded, cool, and then I take it, spit it back out. Like, no, I think when you understand the person that you're working with, and you're on more of a deeper level with them, like you both understand what you both want to get out of what you're creating.
yeah. Have you had to take?
So,
Oh, sorry. Go on.
oh no, no, go for
Have you had to
it.
do projects like that or work with creators where it's just like, here it is. Let me give it back to you. Okay, thanks. Here's the money.
Yes, 100%. And that was when I was more walking into content editing, and like for at that part, like I didn't really care about the money. I just wanted the video because it's not my content that I'm working on; it's someone else's content.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, like I want to show off to this person that I'm working for. If maybe say they're like, "Hey, I really like this video. Let's work again." That's where I'm be like, "Okay, if you want to work again, I want to like sit down, talk to you, and talk to you in Discord, and like get a better understanding what your personality is, because that's where that partnership's going to go. That's where being a client to working as a partner with them is the difference.
Yeah, like, yeah, something. what you're saying is like really hitting home with me. Um, with Golden Guardians, we when we first came in, there was some hype around it because it's backed by the Golden State Warriors, and people are like, wow, that's so cool. Like NBA is getting
Yeah.
into it. Um, and then I think the team went 10th place back to back splits. Completely revamped roster. We're flamed really hard. I also wasn't part of that org at that time, so yeah, I'm just saying, you know. Um, but yeah, and then what I realized, like, we are one of the least popular teams, right? And
Yeah.
okay, I gotta keep this focused because I could like tangent so many ways. Because I think a lot of people say like, oh, you know, you just need to win. Winning is the most important thing, and then if you win, you become popular. In North America, North American LCS, we don't see that. You see Evil Geniuses and FlyQuest who have been top teams, and they're, I guess I'm just thinking about their YouTube channel, but their YouTube channel and their content isn't like popping off anything special. While like you have Team Liquid who finished ninth place, yeah, their docuseries went down in views, but still like really significant.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so it's actually not just about the wins. Winning definitely helps, you know. So what I've started realizing from like being marketing and then also like being heavily part of content and representing like these players, um when it comes to how popular an org is or how successful like our content and all that stuff does, like it really has to highlight the players. And then the tricky part is not all players really want to do content, or they like, I realize like, why they'll be like, no one cares about like my story. Like I'm
Yeah.
uninteresting. I have nothing interesting to say. I'm like, no, everything you're saying is blowing my mind. You're just like a league pro and you don't realize it because you're just like, this is just a weird world for you, you know?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, we have I think I've like unnecessarily put a lot of pressure on my shoulders where I'm just like, we need to get these people's stories out, these players' stories out, and our org stories out, because if we don't do it, um, usually they won't do it because they're really focused on winning. And then also, like, their brand value can really be controlled and boosted if we have a good content team and we're smart and we figure out how to do it right. And
100%.
like that can, I suddenly like, whoa, I can like actually make someone's career that's a shy kid that's playing league that's really good, like actually be something meaningful outside of the game, or like even past it. Maybe they can go into casting or esports or be front facing, but without
Yeah.
some content ideas or actually pushing the players to do these things, like they're just gonna play league and then get kicked once they're like, you know, they're rusty, and then they like, you hear some really sad stories where they're like, yeah, they just went back to school and they're working
Oh.
at Kmart or something. I'm just like, oh, that's kind of sad. So do you feel this? Is this like relatable to you?
Especially the last part. So in Lazarus, we had our very, it was, you know, I just joined Lazarus and I was working with the PUBG team, and it was NPL season 1, or phase 1. And this was a team, you know, they're just randomly all put together. They all made it into the pro scene and everything like that. They all had the skills and everything, and they fought their way to the top. They tried their best. They ended up not making into the first round of like actually qualifying for season or phase 2, and they had to go through relegations. And from that point, like, you can see like the fear on their face. You can see that they're stressed. They are feeling something that, like, they know that they're going to lose their job if they don't make it out of relegations.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't make it out of relegations, and I still asked them, like, do you want to be recorded? Do you want this to be shown? And they were okay with it. They were fine with it. We went through the interviews and they were crying. They knew that they were going to get let go from Lazarus. They knew that their lives are entirely going to be changed from, you know, living in a gaming house to going back home and trying to fight their way back onto a pro team.
Mm-hmm.
And I still made that video and I uploaded it on Lazarus. And I the moment I uploaded it, I remember I got DMs. I got DMs, emails, everything, telling like, this is a depressing video. Because like, no one shows that. No one shows like a team that's lost out of relegation, and that they've openly spoke like, we know that we're not gonna be in Lazarus anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna be in this org, and like they're showing their tears. They're sad. They're upset and everything like that. Like I remember editing it. I was like, damn, this is depressing. This is probably the most depressing thing I've ever edited. And like, yeah, no, I 100% agree with it. And especially going with like looking at other orgs and stuff on like like Evil Geniuses or FlyQuest, and like their YouTube presence isn't so big. And I actually have kind of a thought on that with orgs in general.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say with 100 Thieves in general.
Yeah.
100 Thieves, like, they're a great YouTube presence, but all their teams suck. And I think it goes in two ways. You can be really strong in content, which is 100 Thieves, or you can be really strong in competitive, which personally I feel like would be FaZe back in the days. Mm-hmm. They were really strong competitively, and they still made content. Now FaZe is just both strong in both just making content and competitive in general. And that's because they focus on one side. It's either you're choosing to focus on content or you're focusing on competitive. And from that point, you succeed at those two things. That's where you can branch off into the next thing. So let's say 100 Thieves, they really focus on content. Cool, awesome. They made a big presence. Now you can focus on getting these big names, because I bet you these big names will be like, yo, 100 Thieves looking kind of nice. They got this nice merch. They got a nice backing. They're getting like if I join them, I'm gonna get paid well type of deal. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. I want to join 100 Thieves. Now 100 Thieves is gonna be like, oh, Kiko wants to join. Let's bring them in. Sure. And it goes with the opposite way. Say you want to go competitive. FaZe was really competitive back in the day with COD in general, and now they're really content focused, and they have best of both worlds. I feel like FaZe is probably one of the top brands, and just going with content, competitive. You have to pick one path with an org.
Huh.
So
that's interesting. I feel like, because I think I disagree, but I get your point. Like I don't think your points were wrong.
Yeah,
but maybe I'm like optimistic. maybe that's because like actually like with 100 Thieves, their first split they did like really well, and they're making like the best docu-series, right? But then I think whoever's in charge of their business, like they played it right, because I think for them they're like this special unique like flower, because they were able to make money quick. And I think they're actually positive. I'm pretty sure. But that's because
I would think so.
What was that?
I would think so. Yeah, that they're positive.
So then they're able to spend money on competitive, but then it flopped. But I mean, there's also just like, no matter how much money you have, sometimes you just can't get the talent. Like sometimes that just happens. But yeah, they're definitely not doing hot now.
Like especially with the CSGO scene for them. I mean League, it's 50-50. Their only good competitive that they had was Call of Duty, and I think the smart move for them was not joining Call of Duty.
That's
but
crazy.
I do think 100 Thieves worked so well because they really focused on content, and that's because Nadeshot in general, he was a player and he did content, and now he's really content focused. He's he's the CEO and he's doing content still. Like I see 100 Thieves as not a competitive team, but as a really just content based org, and I do see them in the future becoming one of the top brands for competitions in general, and that's where Liquid is right now.
Yeah,
Liquid and FaZe for sure. Liquid has amazing content, but they have really strong competitive teams. And I think they really focused on competitive at first, which is their CSGO team. I think their CSGO team really carried it for them. And then, from on there, like they got good League players. They got good, I think they have a Smash player as well, and any other team. So I think, really focusing on a one direction and going that one way would help you branch out into another one.
Yeah. And now I'm also
And
thinking, like, is it money? If you have money to start with, then you're good. If you like, the
yeah.
rich get richer kind of thing. If you have enough money, then you can have competitive and content.
Well,
Maybe that's what
you
it
see,
is.
okay, so that's where I kind of think it is different, because I won't say what org that you could guess. It's either 50-50. They had money,
Uh-huh.
but they messed up. They had a really big presence in competitive, but no marketing whatsoever, because they didn't know they wanted content, but they also wanted really big names and really competitive people and different teams in different areas.
Yep.
They wanted to focus on content and competitive, and that's why I saw that their downfall. Like I knew, like, oh, this isn't gonna work out for them. This is not what they're not gonna succeed. I see this as like maybe a B or C tier an org.
Yeah. No, I think that's
So
a really good point, because like um again with 100 Thieves, like, because you had Nate Shot, who just like knows how to do content, and he also knows competitive. So you have someone that has been successful in both, and then you have like probably some good business minds behind him too.
yeah.
Like they were able to split, go both ways, and find success in both of those. But if like the management or the people that make those decisions can't set the right vision, maybe, or like figure it out correctly, then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of see one or the other tank, or like quick success and then tanking or something like that.
Yeah.
But this is kind of out of my scope now. I think I'm like getting like, now I gotta find like a CEO to get in here and then give me really PR answers or something, and not actually get the answers. But no, that's super interesting. I'm glad we talked about that.
Yeah, that's kind of just my take in general with
Yeah.
just like orgs, and like if they want to be successful. Like I have no aspiration of making my own org, but like, if I did, it would for sure be focusing on one of those two things. And
Sure.
personally, it would be content, because content is obviously easier. Getting a competitive team is a lot harder. But with competitive team, like if you're constantly winning and you're an unknown name, like that's where you're like, okay, let's keep doing that. Let's not focus on content. Just keep winning,
Yeah.
because then we can keep talking,
Yeah.
and then we can keep posting, and then we can trash talk.
Yep.
That's where you're winning. That's where your content is now.
And you get the fans, because everyone wants to be a fan of a winning team.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's why hopefully Golden Guardians will have more fans this split. We're getting to Worlds. It's possible. It's happening. Oh man. Okay,
pray.
yeah, we're hitting like the end of our time. I'm wondering if there's one, either something. Is there any other topic like you want to just randomly throw out there and talk about, or should we just close things off? Do you have anything?
Not that it comes to mind. You know, I'm just open to talking about anything.
Oh,
So
actually, okay, I got one. I saw a tweet from
Okay.
you earlier. How old is this? I don't even know how old this is, but you're talking about you want reality TV in esports. Let's talk about this, because I've stayed away from reality TV for a while, and then I've gotten into it, and I'm like, wait, there's so much drama here, and it's interesting.
That is exactly it.
All right.
I think 100 Thieves, I think, is the closest to doing this, but I don't think they're hitting it right on the spot.
Okay.
Everyone likes drama, no matter what, whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But making just esports in general is like, from an outsider's perspective, they look at it, it's dumb. You're a professional gamer. You're playing video games as your job. As an outside perspective, that looks dumb. I'm not gonna lie. That's just the reality of it. But everyone has seen or known reality TV show. If you make content with reality TV show and you just add drama, or you just make something so small, so dumb, that's so big, then that's what's just gonna bring people in. And that's what I wanted to do with like working with Lazarus, working with Misfits, and whatever next org, if I consider enjoying another org, doing with them, because it's just a funny idea, and that's what builds the personality of everyone, because then people are gonna know, like, oh, like, did you hear about I'm gonna reference the Misfits league team, like, did you hear about Dan and Denick and what they did? Like, how could they how did they do that to Febby? And like from there, like, you're just making some type of small drama. You're making something dumb so so big for no reason.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like just making that reality TV show in esports with an org, like that's going to build your social brand. That's going to build the personalities of your players, because obviously like it goes in so many directions of what you want to do. And you can make it as a seasons. You can make it as per episode. Obviously each week there's going to be one episode type of deal going on, and then you can make it per season. You can have your breaks, you can have whatever, and that goes along with what video games going on. So like say with League, you're gonna obviously follow the spring split, the summer split, and so forth, blah blah blah. It just follows in every direction, and
Yeah.
everyone knows drama TV, like Kim Kardashian, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Everyone hates that show, but I bet you know at least one episode.
Totally. So do you think like, so if, okay, let's say you're head of content, you have whatever resources you want, and all the players are totally down and staff is totally down. So like, is this suddenly become like trashy reality TV, or is there something like that's not so trashy that you can like envision? Or is it like fake drama that you're like, he slept with whose girlfriend? Or like, is this like
I think it can go best of both worlds. Obviously, in drama TV, personally for me, um, it kind of has to be trashy, and it kind of has to be some fake drama. There are some like things in most drama TV, like really, is that you're really mad about that? And that's what like this whole premise of the show is,
Mhm.
and that's what gets you watching.
Yeah.
Because like this is such a dumb like problem, and it can be solved so easily, but like you have such a big name dealing with it.
Mm-hmm.
So it has to go best of both worlds for it. It has to stay true to the story of them losing or winning, but also adding on like why did they lose?
Mm-hmm.
Was it because like Febby wasn't wearing his lucky shoes or something? Like was he throwing? Like it's those tiny things. Like a lot of people didn't know that Fabian, he has Gucci shoes and he wears them actually every time he plays on stage.
Nice.
Let's turn that small thing into something way bigger and blow it out of proportion.
Yeah. I think it'd be really fun to like watch a docuseries and the audience is like, I know there's fake stuff in here, but I don't know which one's real and which one's fake. It's almost like you're starting a gossip channel because everyone's like, wait. And then you go on the interviews and Febby's being interviewed by Shocks like, did really someone steal your Gucci shoes and like shit in it or something? It's like, maybe that happened, maybe it didn't. And everyone just embraces that half of it's a lie and half of it's real, but no one says what is actually real and fake. I think that would be like so funny. Or it could hurt a player's brand. Who knows?
Yeah, it could. Yeah. I mean, it goes best of both worlds. But publicity is all publicity. So that's just general. But also another thing is what the change with having, the direction of a reality TV show is a lot of orgs, what they're doing is obviously having a docuseries.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously it can go two ways. You either win at the end or you lose at the end.
Yeah.
And that's it. The story goes the same format for most people. It's just different characters, different sponsors, different whatever.
Yeah.
And I think having a reality TV show would really mix up everything on what you're actually trying to create. And obviously it's going to challenge the videographers. It's obviously going to challenge who's interviewing. He's obviously going to challenge the editors because they have to do research on, what the hell makes a reality TV show. But it's that time and effort that's going to be put in that changes the entire game of what a docuseries is.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
It really separates everything.
Yeah,
so
totally. Because like, oh man, like I was talking to someone today because again, Golden Guardians docuseries went out. Everyone watch it, by the way.
Of course.
And I was like, hey, what was your thoughts about it? He's like, oh, I try to keep up with all these docuseries, but then at one point, I don't even know. I'm just like, it is so hard to keep up with them. And they're so long.
Yeah.
And there's so much like pointless stuff in them. So then they're like, oh, the thing I liked about the Golden Guardians one, it was like 3 episodes released all at once. And they're like 8 to 10 minutes. So they're actually short and they're like compact and the story was there rather than like, let's go see them sitting in the kitchen. Although we did have a scene where everyone's just in the kitchen. But like, you have them sitting in the kitchen. Nothing's happening, and that was like 3 minutes, and then you see them like talking post game in a room for 4 minutes, and nothing happened. And then the coach comes in and is like, yeah, so we had a good talk after the game and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, okay, that justified the 4 minutes of wasting my time, I guess, or something. So yeah,
Exactly.
there's total burnout with this. And but it's obviously easy to just keep doing what you're doing, especially when you just have, it's hard to be creative and hard to come up with new ideas. It takes a
Yeah,
lot of
100%.
times.
No,
And it's
100%.
risky,
And
right? Because like if
yeah,
we do this docuseries, we'll get 24K views or whatever it is. Like we know we will do it. Like it doesn't matter. But if we came out with this amazing idea, maybe it'd be like really refreshing at 100K, or no one will watch it because we were totally wrong with what we thought was going to happen. So
yeah.
that's definitely scary.
It goes, obviously it's a lot with taking risk.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, yeah, the big inspiration with having a drama like reality TV show with esports was uh the Ball family. I don't know if you've seen this, but they do like a reality TV show on Facebook, and it's
Oh.
it's three basketball players. They're all last name Ball, so it's the Ball in the family,
Mm-hmm.
and it's mainly they're focusing on getting to the NBA or becoming a very
Oh.
big presence with basketball. And like you have three players who are pro who are trying to make into the scene. So let's take esports. We have five players who are all pro and trying to win. What can we create out of that? What are some dramas? Obviously, there's gonna be drama. Obviously, there's gonna be players who think like, yeah, I think this guy entered this match. He's the one who threw it for us. So like, let's talk about that. Let's go deeper into it. Let's if we're gonna talk crap, quote unquote crap about other players, let's make that drama a little bit bigger than it should be, and that's what's going to bring the audience in.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
everyone likes drama TV shows.
Yeah. Okay, so now I gotta ask you, so everyone can leave with their own judgment on you. What's your favorite reality show then? Well, or actually, not favorite. What are you watching right now that you're enjoying? Is there one?
Actually, there is no reality TV show that I'm watching currently, surprisingly. So yeah, obviously a lot of inspiration came from like watching the Ball family and what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Another one was The Bachelor.
Oh, nice. Everyone
So
always
I was
judges
like,
that until they start watching it, and then they're like,
no.
"Yeah,
See,
I
that's the
watch it
thing.
too."
Everyone judges it. Everyone judges it, 100%. But they at least know what it is,
Yeah, that's
and they
true.
know what it's about. So that's why if you make a drama with esports, everyone's gonna know about it. Everyone's gonna judge it, but everyone's still gonna watch it because they're gonna be like, "Oh, what can I talk crap about on now? Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
bad about this,
All right, so off-season content, we'll just take our star player and find 12 single attractive women.
There you
Wow,
go. That's the next idea.
Nothing wrong can go. Nothing wrong can happen from there.
E-girls. E-girls.
Yeah, that's funny. All right, cool. So yeah, I want to wrap this up. I want to respect your time. It's been awesome talking to you. It's been really fun. I think our listeners will really enjoy it too. Shout out to Twitch chat. I didn't want to interrupt any of our stuff with that, but AP, do you want to give some plugs where people can find you, what you're up to, things you're excited about, etc.?
I got my own YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/aptv channel. All my socials are directed by AP. Obviously, you guys know I'm a videographer, editor, photographer, and I'm always open. If you guys have any questions like that, hit me up on Twitter. That's the best place actually for any tips, tricks, or anything like that. I'm always down to meet new people. Always open to having an open discussion about literally anything. So
cool. Yeah, and all those links will be in the description wherever you're listening to this or watching this. So cool. Thanks again, AP, and for everyone else watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
See ya.